Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 34,500 subscribers and we are 4,700 away from LTE, so you guys know what to do. Let's go beat them. Like this video down below and subscribe to the channel before we get started. And today we have to talk about the Senate map. I'm not going to be doing a Senate prediction. I'm going to be doing a more in-depth analysis, trying to convince you the 3 seats that Republicans need to go after and try to flip. And I'll do another video like this about the Democrat side because there's many more seats that the Democrats are going to have to try to pick up, or seats that Republicans are going to have to hold. We talk about Arizona potentially flipping, and North Carolina, and some of these other states that Democrats are trying to make a run for, and we'll do that. We're going to have to discuss that. But today, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 3 potential flips. Technically, there are more than 3 that could potentially flip in any scenario. Obviously, if there's a big scandal or something, then obviously we could talk about states like maybe if Republicans run the perfect candidate in Virginia and Trump overperforms nationally, wins the popular vote, there's a new scandal with Mark Warner, maybe Virginia could flip. But again, that could happen the other way around. That could happen in Iowa, that could happen in Kansas or any other Republican state too. So we're going to keep it realistic. New Hampshire is not going to be on this list for several reasons. One is that, yes, it is a state that Trump can win. It is a senator that did vote for impeachment. However, there's no real Republican challenger. I'm hoping that maybe a star can be born out of this race, win or lose, similar to what happened in Michigan in 2018. But other than that, I'm just going to have to ignore New Hampshire for now. It's not necessarily going to be a Senate race worth trying to flip. However, I do think it is a state Trump needs to keep going after, and I'm not exactly sure how the campaign is going to work after all this. I know you're not allowed, I don't think, to hold these large rallies anymore, so it's going to be a very, very, very different type of election. So we'll really have to see a lot of internet campaigning potentially, a lot of online ads we may have to see. So keep out for those, watch out for those. But anyways, we're going to get into this, talk about the 3 that are most likely to flip, and talk about why the Republicans need to go after these. I'm not saying they all will flip, because they all 3 probably won't, but at least one will, and then maybe we could get to 2, hopefully 2, for the Republicans. The first seat I believe will flip is the state of Alabama. Clearly, I do believe that Doug Jones is just toast, really. The guy voted to impeach Trump in a state that voted for Trump by 60%. He got less votes than Hillary Clinton got in Alabama. It's very possible that he will get sub 40% and potentially even sub 37% when it's all said and done. He's in a very conservative state. He really hasn't governed like a moderate. He's governed, I guess you could say, to the right of obviously Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, but he hasn't governed to the right of even somebody like Joe Manchin or some of these other moderate, so-called moderate Democrats in the Senate. He is probably governed along the lines of Chuck Schumer, the New York establishment. That's not necessarily going to be a winning strategy in Alabama. It doesn't matter whether you have Jeff Sessions, who will probably sadly lose to Tommy Tuberville. Sessions is a character that I go back and forth on. We talk about his terrible run as AG. However, I think he will do a great job in the Senate, especially now as he is advocating for an immigration moratorium. That's going to help him, and it's dumb for Trump and the Republican establishment to just leave him out to dry because of it. So I definitely think that Alabama, whether you do run Tuberville or Sessions, either way, it's going to flip Republican, possibly flip Republican by even, a 20-plus point margin when it's all said and done. So Alabama is a state that I would really watch out for to flip, the state of Alabama. So right now, Republicans would have 54 if this holds up. Now, it's not necessarily going to, because you do have states they're going to lose. But again, just to clarify, that's not the point of this video. That's not the point that this video is exactly trying to convey. These are the 3 most flippable for the Republicans. Alabama is definitely on the list. Now, there's 2 more states that Republicans can flip. I'm not saying they're going to, but these are the states that they have to go after. The second most likely state to flip in the Senate is the state of Michigan. And some people out there, especially the main source of the detractors, have gone after me for saying this, but I don't necessarily believe that Gary Peters, or as many here say Jerry Peters, because nobody really knows who the hell he is, is going to win. I really don't believe at the end of the day that Gary Peters is necessarily going to win. The problem that's come up in the recent months is that John James has been attacked for the age tax, something to do with age taxes. You've seen a lot of negative ads run against John James. That could be taking a toll on the negative polling in the short term. In the long term, I do think the gap will close. John James is a very good candidate, very charismatic candidate with an excellent backstory. He gave Debbie Stabenow the fight of her political life in the state of Michigan in 2018. In a blue wave year, he made the state of Michigan trend red. It voted to the right of the country, I believe, in the Senate race by 3 percentage points, actually. People don't like to talk about that. They like to say he lost by 6, but he was down 28 in September. And right now he's down, 6 to 10 in that range to Gary Peters. That's roughly what he lost to Stabenow by. Personally, I think it's going to go with Trump. If Trump wins Michigan, I do believe Trump will win Michigan, by the way. I honestly do believe that John James is going to win Michigan with Trump. It's a very, very winnable seat. The fundraising lately in the last couple of quarters has been neck and neck. Honestly, Peters has been spending. Haven't seen a whole lot of John James ads. John James doesn't usually have a lot of ads until later in the campaign. Besides, Trump is going to be a much larger presence in the campaign. In 2018, he really wasn't. He didn't go to Michigan. He didn't do a rally in Michigan. He did endorse John James. However, in 2020, he will have to, I don't know if it's going to be a rally, but there's going to have to be some coordination between the campaigns. And basically, if you are MAGA, you are on team Trump and John James in Michigan, basically, because John James is the MAGA candidate. I don't necessarily agree with all of his views, but I agree with a lot of them. And honestly, John James can get those Trump voters that Trump won and brought to the party back in 2016, but he can still have some of those, the establishment conservatives in Oakland County. He can get the people on Kent County on board. He can get the people in Ottawa County, where he actually outperformed Trump despite losing the state by 6 to 7 points. So the map is going to look a little bit different for James, but honestly, if anything, it could work to his benefit. So there's many, many reasons why James could win in Michigan. Besides, if you weight some of these polls that have him down, 6, 7 to 10 points, if you weight them properly, he's down by more like 3 to 4 points. And by the way, Gary Peters is still at I think 44 in the aggregate. At this point, Stabenow was at 55, 56. There's a lot of room for improvement as long as your opponent's below 50. This is a seat that Republicans have a good chance to win. It is not lean D in my opinion. In my opinion, it is going to be a toss-up. It is going to go down the wire at the end of the day, and Republicans would be really, really dumb if they just left James out to dry and left Trump out to dry in Michigan, because it is going to be a competitive state. You drive from Detroit to Traverse City, and you tell me that Donald Trump is going to lose this state. I don't think so. If anything, he's going to do better than what he did back in 2016. Doesn't really matter what a whole lot of these pundits say. So right now, Republicans at 55, Democrats at 45. Again, put the disclaimer, this is not a prediction. These are the 3 states that Republicans should try to flip in the Senate. I'll do a Democrat one. It's going to be titled probably what seats Republicans need to hold that are important this November, because you can't just be playing from ahead. You can't be playing offense all the time. You have to play defense. You have to say, okay, these people in these states need to get out to vote, because North Carolina is going to be a lot closer than what people think, and many other states as well. So for that, those are the 2 out of the 3. The third one, a lot of people won't expect this state to flip. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you it's going to flip. I'm basically saying that it very well could, and Republicans need to invest here in the state of Minnesota. Because just like in 2016, this state could very well go down the wire. We have no polling out of the state of Minnesota. We really don't know what's happening. But you see a very similar pattern to Michigan. Tina Smith is not that well known. She is not unbeatable. As you saw in 2018, she ran against a fairly weak candidate, and she kind of was a weak candidate herself, but it really didn't matter, and the Democrats won a massive wave year in the state of Minnesota. This is a seat where you're running Jason Lewis, you're running a radio talk show host. He is based, he is America first, he's red-pilled and all that kind of good stuff. That's a good thing. That's what you want in the state of Minnesota. So I do believe that he can have that factor, because they like the weird people. They always like the weird candidates. They vote for these Jesse Ventura, Michelle Bachmann, Ilhan Omar type of individuals. And Jason Lewis could fit that bill because he is very anti-establishment. Again, he's a radio host that became a congressman. Yes, he did lose in 2018, but it doesn't mean that he can't win a statewide election in 2020. And for fundraising, he's doing very well. He is neck and neck. In fact, I think in some of these quarters, he actually outraised Smith by over 130 to 170%. So if anything, Minnesota is in play. I would encourage the Republican Party of Minnesota to get out because Trump is going to run neck and neck with Joe Biden in Minnesota, most likely at the end of the day. I don't take the polls into consideration now. Actually, Trump is outperforming Trump 2016 by like 3 points right now. And that's before any of these Biden allegations have really surfaced. So I think Trump's in a lot better shape than a lot of people think. That could change. Trump could end up losing at the end of the day. That's why people need to get registered to vote. That's why people need to get out and vote. And at the end of the day, you could very well see these 3 Senate seats flipped. You're going to see Alabama flip no matter what. If Trump loses in a massive landslide, I would still expect Alabama's Senate race to flip. Michigan and Minnesota, those are tougher. Michigan, I think, is doable. More likely than not, I think he flips Michigan. Minnesota, it's possible. That's why it's on this list. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. Join the Discord and subreddit. Donate to the Patreon and subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.